everyone in person again. Hey, and our state president just joined us. Debbie, thank you for joining us.
Oh, hi, Debbie. Thank you.
Yeah, as Missy said, Ann Goss and I have been working on, along with our governing board. Our governing board met in December and we talked about some of the things you might want to do this year. And then Ann and I have been talking after that, and we decided that since Women's Council at national, state, and our local networks promote building leaders, that we would build on that and that we would create a building leaders education series. So that's what we've done this year. Most of you, well, at least in the Dayton Network, have seen what we're doing this year. But we are actually going to, we chose a few leadership skills that we thought were really important for all of us. And then we developed a series with each of those and then speakers around each of those leadership skills. And so this morning, we're going to begin kicking off our Building Leaders Education series with a presentation by Carla Lewis, and that's going to be focused on the very important leadership skill of communications. And then we continue in February. On February the 11th, we have a presentation on tax and financial management by the ever popular Candace DeClark Peace of Clark, Schaefer, and Hackett. That will be a very busy session. So, and all of us, I think most of us have been at that, and it's a great session, and we would invite all of you to see that. Carla always does a great job, and she gives us tips on changes in tax laws that affect us as realtors. March, we're going to have WCR's 2020 National President, Brenda Lee, with us. And if any of you have ever seen Brenda Lee, she is exciting and knowledgeable and fun. And I'm sure she'll have her fan with her. So we should all bring fans. But she's going to present a discussion around powerful presentation skills. The Fair Housing Month is in April, and we have John Zimmerman with us from the Fair Housing Center, and that is going to focus on collaboration and fair housing. And then our series continues with presentations around skills such as inspirational leadership, leadership in our communities, personal safety, marketing, and retirement planning. So that's what we have in store for you, and we hope that you'll be able to join us for all these series this year, and we hope that everyone will learn a lot and have fun and enjoy a lot of fellowship as well. So before I introduce Carla Lewis, I want to share with you why I had her come in today. And Debbie Stahl, our WCR state president, had Carla at a presentation last month, and I attended that along with some other faces in the group this morning. And she did such a great job, and I was so impressed. And then she and I had a conversation, and I hired her company to work with me. So I've been working with them now for about a month and a half, and I've really enjoyed it. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited to be working with them. And Carla is an elite level sales and leadership coach, team leader, and a practitioner with Southwestern Consulting. She has coached thousands of sales professionals and leaders from all over the world to exceed their goals. So much so, she is the first person at Southwestern Consulting to have been named Coach of the Year twice, first in 2014 and again in 2018. Carla's purpose and the reason she exists is to serve others by being a positive difference maker. She thrives when helping others push through their limiting beliefs and empowers her clients to rise up to the most marvelous version of themselves. Her purpose and passion collide when she is serving others to change their lives. She is an expert on sales, service, and relationship development with a 30-plus year sales track record, always being a top producer. Carla and I have planned a marvelous workshop for you today. We have customized this workshop just for you. We're going to show you at the end how it is easy for you to have your own personal one-on-one sales performance coach through Southwestern Consulting to help you exceed both your professional and personal goals. And with that, let's please give Carla Lewis a warm welcome.
Thank you, Mike. That introduction was amazing. It was fantastic. It was just like I wrote it. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So I'm excited to be with you all. And yes, in addition to Mike being in our coaching program, Missy is also in our coaching program. And I don't know, is Elizabeth part of this group also, Missy? Elizabeth Cooper?
She is. I don't think she was able to attend today, but she's enjoying the coaching as well.
Yes, yes. And then Debbie Stoll has been a part of our coaching in the past. So I am grateful for the relationships that we have and will have come from this workshop that we're doing today. But I want to let you know that, yes, we are going to be referring to coaching. We are going to be referring to what it looks like to be in our program. And for some of you at the end, just like Missy and Elizabeth and Mike, and lots of other folks we've worked with in the past, Debbie, you're going to feel like at the end, man, this is really something I want to talk to Carla about. And we'll give you that opportunity. And for others of you, you may say, hey, you know what? That information was great. This is not for me. That's okay too. So I'm giving you permission to both be a yes or a no at the end of this, depending on what works for you. What I would ask is that you come into this with just an open mind around what would your business look like? What would your leadership skills look like? What would your sales skills look like? But just a little bit more accountability. And that's the lens we're going to look through all of this at or through. But before we start, I love to engage. And I don't know about y'all, but there are times that I'm like, I just want to be in person. I want to shake hands. I want to hug. I want to high five. I want to do all of those things. And so we can't do that today. So if you would text me your first and last name, and I also put my name and my phone number in the chat when we started. Little disclaimer, I don't check the chat while we're doing this. So if you have a question or need to speak, you can either unmute yourself or you can text me on my phone right beside me and I'll be watching as the texts come in. But text me your first and last name and your favorite emoji, your favorite GIF, your favorite Bitmoji. I know right now, some of you may be thinking, what the heck kind of a world are we living in? So if you've got a GIF or an emoji around that, right before I started my workday today, I saw my cousin posted a little meme of two clowns, and one clown was standing there and it had 2020 over it, and the other clown was 2021, and the little message under it was 2020 showing 2021 around. So there's a lot of stuff going on in our world, but I'd love to engage with you. Thank you, Debbie. I love that. I love that. Another Debbie. So we have lots of Debbies. And yeah, I roll. What's happening, right? Yeah. So if you guys would just text me your name, phone number. Well, obviously your phone number comes through, but your favorite emoji or Bitmoji. This is a way for us to have some fun, to engage. Thank you, Melinda. I love it. I love it. So if the rest of you would just engage with me and send that over, they're very helpful. And for those of you who may be watching this recording lately or later, feel free to text me as we're going through, as you're watching this, as we go through this as well. So we are going to start off with talking about elevating both sales and leadership. So I know in the positions that y'all are in the board of realtors that it's from a leadership perspective, and we're going to talk about some of those skills, but we also talk a lot about sales skills. So I'm confident that you all can mirror back and forth and change thought processes of, is this sales or leadership that we're talking about? But our purpose and the reason our company exists is to elevate the practice and perception of sales and sales leadership. So we're going to talk about a lot of those things right now. So when we think about everything that's going on in the world, I appreciate those of you that are continuing to send your texts, and I love it. When we talk about everything that's going on in the world, would you all agree that there's a lot that's happening right now that is 1,000,000% outside of our control? Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things going on that are outside of our control, but there are things that are happening or that we know, even in the middle of this chaos, even in the middle of 2021, right? Of things that have happening. My brother posted something this morning that said, hey, I tried out my free trial of 2021. I'm not interested in a full subscription, right? But when we think about that, there's so many things that we can control. And so we're going to talk about the things that we can control, and results are not one of them. Expectations of other people are not one of the things that we can control. Missy, I saw someone posted something in the chat. So if you kind of want to monitor that, if there's anything I need to know in there, just feel free to let me know, Missy or Mike or whoever.
I do have it. I'll be monitoring that. And just a reminder, everybody, please mute yourself. And then I did just drop a thing in the chat. If you could drop your full name and company name so we can do a quick little attendance check, and there could be prizes involved.
Ooh, prizes. I like prizes. So when we think about controlling the controllables, the things we know that we can control, number one are our skills. So for you all in the context of this, it can be our leadership skills, our communication skills. I know from being a leader and working with a lot of different people, not everybody is like me. Not everybody likes to be communicated with the way I like to communicate. I don't know if I'm a unicorn and special and different, or if y'all ever feel that way as well. I know I'm a relationship person. I'm a be on the phone kind of person. My husband is a texter. He even has in his voicemail, for a faster response, send me a text. I love when I'm prospecting and I get that. I always text people. I'm like, hey, if that's the way you want to be communicated with, I'm going to communicate with you in that way. So when we talk about skills, these skills are the teachable, trainable skills that we know as leaders, as professionals, we need to have. So let me ask you to just self-evaluate. When is the last time you went to work on your skills? When is the last time that you carved out intentional time to go to work on your skills? When we talk about this in coaching, and those of you that are in know this is an area that we help you develop. Now, all of you have gotten to where you're at today because you're really good at what you do. But the question I would ask yourself is, are you the best of what you can be? Are you crushing your goals? Or is there still more in you? We help by developing those skills. And we're going to talk about a lot of these things as we move forward. Another habit that we know that we absolutely have control over is, thank you, Kim. Thank you for clarifying that. Another skill that we have, or another area that we have control over, is our sales motivation, our self-motivation, our leadership motivation. Do y'all ever feel like you're beating your head against a wall when it comes to leading people sometimes? And you're like, we have these great things. Why doesn't anybody come? Right? Or we have a really great event and people come and we're all excited about it. And then the next event is like, oh, or we think, oh my gosh, how can we continue to sustain this? Well, we work with folks to help establish great, sustainable skills that we can use moving forward and sustain them to keep that high level of motivation. Because I don't know if you've all have ever tried to ride a bike up a steep hill. You know, you pedal and you pedal and you pedal and you pedal and you get halfway up and your legs are tired and they're burning, they're on fire. And you think, oh my gosh, I'm just going to get off and rest for a moment. And then what happens? It's a heck of a lot harder to get back on that bike and ride it uphill, right? We end up pushing the bike up the hill. It's the same way in our business and in our lives. If we continue to sustain the motivation that we have, we're going to continue to be better and better and better. So we work with folks on our sales motivation. And finally, the third thing is systems. And when we talk about systems in regards to communication, it's having systems in place. I was just working with the gentleman right before this. I had a coaching call with a gentleman by the name of Wayne Rayburn. And he was sharing that he has no systems in place for tracking his leads, for tracking his follow-up, for tracking his closed business. And he didn't share that he had no system. I said, what is your system? And he said, well, it's all right here. It's all in my head, right? How many of us is our system, our mental filing cabinet, right? And how well does that work? It doesn't. It's not sustainable. And so we work with folks on how to create systems around what systems you need created. So it could be how to create templates for emailing. It could be how to create a time management, time blocked schedule. We're going to talk about that a little bit. It could be creating that space to make sure that we're responding to emails, responding to voicemails, responding to texts when we need to versus letting it all build up. And then we feel oh so overwhelmed and we don't do anything with it moving forward. So we're going to talk about a lot of these things, but we know that the thing that makes all of this work together are strong habits. So here we are, January 7th, is today the 7th? I think it is January 7th, 1 week into the new year. How many of you, and you don't have to raise your hand, you don't have to text, but ask yourself, how many of you made a resolution, a New Year's resolution, and how many of you have broken that already? How many of you have set a goal and then started thinking, maybe that's too big? I don't know, maybe I'll just settle. And we're only on January 7th, right? So we help folks create those solid habits. Do y'all know how long it takes to make a new habit? It's 21 days, 3 weeks. So in 2021, if we want a new habit created, don't give up, right? You're only a third of the way into a new habit. Don't give up. But what we also know is when we surround everything we do with accountability, that's where the magic happens. That's where the change starts to happen. And so that's the reason why we work with currently over 6,000 people. Over the course of our business, we've worked with almost 20,000 people to help them develop the habits, sustain those habits, be habit implementers. We help you develop the habit of implementation when it comes to communication with your clients, communication with other leaders, when it comes to sales skills, all of those things. We help you create the habit of implementation by holding you accountable to what you want to do. This isn't about what we want for you. This is about what you want to do. So as we're going through this, I'd like you to think about this from the context of what would a little bit more accountability look like in your life? How could that help you achieve your goals? And are we the right people to partner with you? If we are, awesome. We'd love to link arms with you and help you. And if we're not, it's okay, but I'd encourage you to find something. So when we talk about habits of top leaders, habits of great leaders, you can also relate this to sales because they're the same thing. They're habits of top professionals. There's 3 of them. And the first one is all great leaders find a way, not an excuse. Good golly, when we look at 2020 and 7 days into 2021, how many excuses could we come up with as to why we can't do things, right? So my number's on the screen. I'd love for you to text me. What is the one excuse you know you've been allowing to stand in your way, whether it's in regards to exceptional communication, whether it's in regards to doing all the things you know you need to do, whether it's in regards to reaching your goals, working to your potential. What is the excuse? And text it to me. There's something therapeutic about putting it in writing, but what is the one excuse that you know you are allowing to stand in your way? I'll wait for those texts to start coming in. We hear all different sorts of excuses, right? One of the girls that we work with, her name is Melanie, and she shared in one of our internal training, we can't deposit excuses. If we deposit excuses, they eventually turn into regret. Yep, I just got one. I'll do it tomorrow. Too busy. Keep them coming. I'm going to guess they're all going to be, yep, another too busy. Kids are remote, homeschooling, learning. Holy cow, what else can I dump into my schedule? Yeah, so keep those coming. But when you look at those, we really need to realize we can find a way. We really can find a way over those. I remember March 13th when Governor DeWine decided to shut down Ohio. And we're not discussing how we feel about any of that. We're just talking about it's happening. Ooh, that's a good excuse. Not as interesting as other stuff we do. I've heard that from a lot of coaching clients, but this stuff is fun over here, right? But this is what makes us money. We can still do the fun stuff. We need to make the money. But I was working in March with a gentleman by the name of Dan Mullenkamp. And he and I had tried to set a workshop like this 3 times with his team, and something always kept coming up. And so the beginning of March, Dan and I had a conversation, and our workshop was scheduled for March 18th. And I said, Dan, this was beginning of March, other than an act of God, is there any reason this workshop will not take place for your team? He's like, no, Carla, we need coaching. We need this workshop. We are doing this workshop. The workshop was March 18th. March 13th, I can't go to Dan's office, right? So, ooh, that's a good one. Client who's difficult, pushing off, delaying that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But Dan and I decided, man, we're going to figure out a way. And we did it virtual. We ran the first virtual workshop. I've run lots and lots and lots of them since. But what would have happened if we all would have said, oh, we can't do that. Life is different. COVID, this is happening. This is happening. Our world's going crazy, whatever. Top leaders, top producers find a way, not an excuse. The second habit of a top leader or a top producer is they're a student of their game. They're consistently investing in their mind. Again, it's depositing what we want. It's learning how to have different communication styles with people. It's learning that not everybody is the same of us. Not everyone wants communicated in the same way that we do. You know, I had a call with a client, Lori Roop, this morning, and she said, Carla, just talking to you out loud, I just realized that just because I want to see it this way doesn't mean my prospect wants to see it this way. We were talking about email communication. I was like, you're exactly right. Just because we want it one way doesn't mean everybody else does. And how many people are we leaving out in the cold because we're not communicating in the way they want to? So consistently investing in our mind, consistently learning new ways. A formal education will make us a living, but a self-education will make us a fortune. And I love this testimonial letter from Zach. He was sharing that he needed some introduction into some new techniques and someone to hold him accountable. He leaned into coaching and earned his biggest monthly paycheck of $78,000. So what is it that we're not willing to step into, but then we sit here and we talk about, ooh, life's not very good right now, right? So becoming a student of their game. Diane Skarts, I love her story. She had been in business for 25 years. She said, I just felt like I was going through the motions. I've been doing it for so long. When we asked her, well, why do you do it that way? Oh, well, I've always done it that way. Well, how's it working? It's really not, right? How many of us lean into that? I've always sent this email this way. I've always communicated this way. I've always just let things sit and not attacked them the way I needed to because there's something more interesting to do, or that person is difficult. So I'm just going to let it sit here and not deal with it. And hopefully it'll go away. Yeah, no, it never goes away, does it? It just escalates. And so Diane decided to lean in and say yes. And she's one of our great success stories. She said it had been the best investment of her time and money that she ever had. So as you're thinking about this, what are the things that you need to invest in? What are the things you need to invest and become a student of the game? Is it reading more? Is it listening to podcasts more? Is it engaging with a coaching service? Is it doing a schedule? What do you need to do to become a better student of your game? And then the third habit of top leaders are they take action now. So this is where the person who sent the client who's difficult, pushing that call off, or these things are not as interesting, or I can do that tomorrow. How many times do we let tomorrow seep into today, but then tomorrow never shows up, right? So whether it's communication, whether it's calling, getting with a client, whether it's doing the tasks that we need to know we need to do, whether it's having that crucial conversation with someone, when is the best time to do it? Now, right? But why don't we do it now? So I'd like you to text me and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. When it comes to being proactive, to doing the things you know you need to do. A 10 is, man, Carla, I take action on everything right away. I do exactly what I know I need to do in that moment. I don't let the stress of the world, I don't let the craziness of my business, I don't let the kids who are homeschooling and the dog that needs out and the laundry that needs switched and whatever, I don't let that in. I sit down and I focus and I execute. And when I have that scheduled in, I do it. And a 1 is, well, Carla, let me tell you all the reasons why I can't make that work, because I'm different. I'm special. I can't do that because here, let me tell you my excuse, right? So thank you to those of you who are texting. If we're not an 8, 9, or 10, yeah, I'm reading some text here. If we're not an 8, 9, or 10, what does that cost us? For some of you, it's emotional, right? It's we go home at night to whatever our family unit looks like, and we're really not there. We're really not present. Or we do the things, we just go through the motions, but we know we're leaving so much more on the table. We say yes to everything. I'm confident that there's a couple people on this that say yes to everything. Yeah, it costs our reputation. It costs us money. It costs us a lot. So how long do we want to continue to let that cost go? We have, and at the end of this, I can dump the, when I quit the screen share, I can put a podcast in that one of our clients is featured on. It's our podcast that we do called the Action Catalyst. If you search in Apple, the Apple Store, or wherever you get your podcast, Action Catalyst, you'll be able to listen to our podcast for free. But Kelly is one of the clients that I enrolled in coaching, and I coached her for over 7 years. And she shared, when we were talking about initially taking action, she shared, but I can't afford this. I'm not sure that I can do this. I'm not sure it's financially feasible for me to do it. And she walks through in that podcast how she's so glad she pushed through that fear and she stepped in. So whatever fear is holding you back from taking action, release that fear and just go. Communicate with those people that need communicated with. And the way most people do this is they eliminate procrastination. Anybody a procrastinator? Anybody going to raise their hand later? Right? Missy's like, I got that. Yeah. Yeah. Worse than procrastination, it's creative avoidance. It's, well, before I send that email, before I communicate, before I respond to this group of people that I know are counting on me, this client, my board, whatever it is, before I do that, I'm just going to refill my coffee because, oh, it's been sitting here for a while and it's now cold. So I'm just going to run over to the microwave and refill that. And oh gosh, while I'm in the kitchen, the laundry room is right next door. So I'm just going to run over there and I'm going to switch out the laundry. And then our kid stops us on the way back, or our spouse or whatever, and they have a question because we're all working from the same space right now, right? We're all loving being together. Yeah. So they ask us a question and then we get back and we're like, oh, we have our coffee, but our water, oh, it's almost empty. I better go fill that up. And then, oh man, there's that email from somebody, that difficult client that I really don't want to respond to. So I'm going to sit here for a long time and contemplate how I'm going to respond to this. And then before we know it, it's lunchtime. And then before we know it, it's dinner time, it's quitting time. And then at the end of the day, we feel like garbage because we haven't done what we said we were going to do. The weight of that client, that team member, that board member, whatever that we didn't get back to is weighing on our mind. We can't sleep. We binge eat, whatever it is that we do it. So how do top leaders, top producers, top professionals overcome those procrastination tendencies, those creative avoidance tendencies? They focus on their IPAs, not the ones we drink at the end of the day, right? We talk about IPAs, income producing activities, scheduling, planning it out. Missy's laughing. I'm assuming she's working with her coach on this right now. And I know Mike has talked to his coach about this as well. But planning our day, planning, when are we going to return those emails? When are we going to work on those board projects that we committed to? But oh gosh, it's been 2 weeks and we haven't done it. Planning, when are we going to reach out to our prospects? Planning, as silly as this sounds, when are we going to eat lunch? Planning, when are we going to be done at the end of the day? Right now, there's so much that bleeds between personal and professional, and that's why a lot of people are stressed. But planning that time for when we're taking the laptop and we're closing it, we're shutting the phone off, we're not responding to things, planning date night, planning family time. I don't know if you all know Elizabeth Cooper, but she's someone that Missy works with, who I am coaching right now. And literally she sent me her first go at a schedule. And I was so excited because in it, every day for an hour, it says Emmy time. She has a little girl, Emmy. And she said, I feel like I've neglected my child. I feel like I'm just not really present with her. And so for that hour, I believe it's 3 to 4, don't quote me on that, but I believe it's 3 to 4. She said, I'm shutting off my phone. It doesn't matter. Nothing is going to happen in an hour that I can't get back to. But then at 4 o'clock, she's back on the clock. She's back working. She's ready to go after it for the rest of her day, from 4 to 7 or whatever it is. But it's planning that time, planning that communication, making sure that we are doing the things. And in coaching, you work with your coach, right, Missy? How to create your ideal schedule. I'm going to guess yours isn't going to look like this at all. Yours is going to look very different. Mine looks different every week, but it's planning what we want our week to look like. So top producers like Rick Doughty, who achieved his goals after just 4 months in coaching, a lot of it was due to effective time management techniques. I won't say who you are, but I just got a text from somebody that says, okay, Carla, I'm a procrastinator. And then they put their name and their company name. So it just came in. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. So working with a coach to create these new ideas, to get outside of here. Folks, this space between our ears is not our friend. It's not our friend, right? So when we face that burnout, like someone just texted me, when we face all that, it's because we're going 14 different directions. We're saying yes to things that we have no business saying yes to. Because folks, every time we say yes to something, we're saying no to something else. So every time you say yes to your family, you're saying no to developing your business. Every time you say yes to developing your business, you're saying no to your family. And the list goes on and on and on. There are times that we need to say yes and no. And then there are times that we need to let our yes be a yes and be present with our family, be present with our friends, be present with how we're going to communicate with this person. And there are times that we need to say, no, that is not the priority right now. I have time for that in an hour, and plan it. So top leaders find a way, not an excuse. They're a student of their game and they take action now. And so I want to talk a little bit about leadership. And some of you have heard our workshop several different times. So I always like to mix it up if I know I've got an audience that has heard some of it. But I want to talk a little bit before we move. Steve Frody, who actually just tried to call me while we were doing this. I saw his number pop up. But I love his statement, I'm more at peace and I enjoy my work. Way more in control. If that's something you're looking for, let's have a conversation at the end of this and we'll see if it's a fit. But when we think about leadership and we think about great leaders, and I forgot to hide the slide, so pretend like that didn't show up. I'm human. When we talk about leadership, a few tips, and this goes for communication. This goes for leading in a board. This goes for, if you're in sales, you're a leader. You're leading people to a decision. So leadership is about having really strong systems to help us better lead people. Having really strong communication systems, having email templates that are already thought out, having voicemail templates that are already thought out, having text templates that are already thought out, that we can copy and paste and tweak. Effectiveness, efficiency, and allows us to respond timely. A leader shows people. A leader grabs somebody's hand and says, come with me. Let me show you how to do this. Let me lead you by example. Because we can't lead where we won't go and we can't teach what we don't know. I equate this to the 500-pound personal trainer. If any of you have a goal at the beginning of the year to lose weight, get in shape, whatever, it seems like that's a common resolution. Would you show up and work with someone that was incredibly overweight to help you get in shape, to help you eat better? No, you wouldn't, right? We want to work with people that emulate what we want in our lives. Your folks that appreciate you all being on the board and being part of this, they want to work with people that can lead them. Leaders have exceptional communication skills. And I love the last line. You don't build great companies, great organizations. You build great people who build great companies. And the way we do that is by having strong, effective communication skills. We become great problem solvers. We become people who are able to lead through anything. And when I think about this, think about all of the companies that have had great leaders who have led them through 2020. Maybe you're one of those leaders. Maybe you have one of those leaders. Maybe you're both. But when you think about it, there's a lot of businesses that maybe shouldn't have survived when you just look from a sheer logical standpoint, but they did. And it's because they had a great leader. I know in our company, we have strong leadership that the day everything started getting shut down, we adapted, and we adapted quickly. Was it easy? Nope. But anything worth having is not easy. Being a good leader, being a good communicator, those aren't easy things to do, but they're worth it in the end. So strong leaders build relationships. The way we build great relationships is by having strong communication skills. We do what we say we're going to do. We live a life of integrity. We stick true to who we are. So building those strong relationships is absolutely the sign of a great leader. When you think about your companies, your organizations that you're a part of, those great relationships are what drive the company. Great leaders delegate well. Now, this is not delegating from a perspective of like a parent delegates to their kid, go clean your room because I don't want to do it, right? That's not what we're talking about. Delegating is using your skills and abilities and letting other people use theirs. So finding people to partner with, finding people on your board who can pick up and run with things that aren't your passion, aren't your strong suits, and then you all come back together and it works as a team. Being proactive, we talked about that, being proactive with our time, being proactive with having systems in place for that strong communication, for that strong prospecting, for that strong business and organizational building time, leading with confidence. The link that I'm going to drop in, and I want to make myself a note so I don't forget this podcast. I want to drop that in at the end. The link that I'm going to drop in talks about confidence and leading with confidence. Not everybody's born with confidence, right? There are people that maybe have a little bit more of it in them, but confidence is a skill that can absolutely be developed. And we want to all get to the point as leaders where we are leading with unconditional confidence. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. We are leading forward, right? We are moving forward with confidence. We're promoting the right things. It doesn't matter who comes up with them. I love the line in our creed that says we stand for what's right, not who's right. It doesn't matter who's right. So when we're talking about crucial conversations, when we're talking about things that we want to do to promote the right things, it's staying focused on exactly that. What is right? And then welcoming that feedback from other people. Always teaching and training. I love how Mike was going through all of the things that you all have coming up to help make you stronger leaders. That's so amazing. Taking that into your companies, your organizations, and teaching and training, keeping it simple, right? The old KISS method. It doesn't need to be difficult. It's not rocket science, right? Just keep it simple. Taking care of ourselves, making sure that we're leading by example. And then when we talk about always managing work stats, this is managing systems and numbers, but leading people. So managing, how are we communicating with each other, but leading the people to make sure that they're communicating in the right way. So those are just a few of the tips and techniques that I can share with you in our time today when it comes to leadership. But I love this. The day you finally become a leader is the day you start evaluating decisions based on how they improve the lives of other people. If you haven't yet, hopefully that day is today. And it's all about focusing on others, not ourselves. Because when we lead other people, it all comes back to us. And so this is one of the many, many topics, over 50 topics that we have available that we coach folks on. So if you find yourself thinking about these things and thinking, man, I really could use some outside perspective in this area, I'd love to share with you a little bit about our program. And I'm going to go through some of this here. But when we go through our program, there are several reasons that people say yes to coaching. More money. Here's some folks that have earned more income by having a coach. Multiplying their time. These are folks, and Kelly in the middle is the one who will be featured on the podcast. She's the one who said, and she said it again in the podcast, I always told myself I couldn't afford this. I can't afford to have a coach. But she soon realized what having that outside influence in her business meant to her from a leadership perspective, from a sales perspective, and then improving that confidence, increasing the confidence to move forward. And here's just a few folks that have great stories about that. But how do you know if this is something that you want to have a conversation with me about? So the way our program works is we do customized coaching with each individual who says yes. They're 2 about 45 minutes in length phone calls. We have many, many topics, over 50 different topics that we can work with you on from both a leadership perspective and a selling perspective. We supplement that with videos and then managing your work stats, managing what are the activities that you're doing. So how do we know if it works for you? The first question I would ask you to ask yourself is, are you coachable? Are you truly coachable? Are you willing to open yourself up to having those conversations and learn and apply? If so, are you committed? We work with folks for a minimum of 12 months. A lot of folks work with us longer than that. And then do you really want to change? Do you really want something different? If you can answer yes to all of those questions, we know coaching is a fit for you. If you answer no to those questions, then we know coaching is not a fit, and it's okay. So when we think about how much it is, I don't know if you all have priced coaching before, but there's a lot of programs out there. There's a lot of programs out there that folks have never sold a thing in their life, but they're teaching you how to do it, right? But a lot of those programs are about $3,500 a month, $2,000, $3,500, $5,000. The reason we have such great success is ours is only $599 a month. We do have an elite level program at $1,200 for folks who are making a higher income or want a higher level coach. So I would love for you just to take a moment, breathe it in and say, okay, am I even open-minded to this? And before we wrap this up, I would just love to hear from Mike and then maybe even Missy. You guys are brand new to the coaching program. Just share with us what coaching has done for you, how you feel this has been a benefit to you, not only from your business perspective, but from a leadership perspective for the board. Mike, do you want to go first?
Sure. When I was talking to the other day, I was talking to my coach, and we've been through the holidays and that. It's people do different things during the holidays, and I had told her that I had planned to spend some time over the holidays, a great amount of time working on my new house that I bought, so I can move into it. And so what I found interesting was, even in my head, although I wasn't doing that schedule every day because I wanted to focus on my house, but I told her in my head, I was seeing my schedule. And she said she had just talked to somebody else that morning who told her the very same thing. It had become a habit, of writing it down on paper, like what I was going to be doing every day and that, and tracking what I was going to do. And then at the end of my day, I've always kind of taken my items that I have not gotten accomplished that day and then moving them to a to-do list the next day. So I've always kind of done that, but even in my head, I do that. But now I've been writing those down so I don't miss, and I continue to move those forward until they get finished. But I did find that to be very interesting and helpful. And I also saw that by doing the schedule, that it's really typical for me, and I think for a lot of realtors, to get up in the morning and go straight to their desk and start working, maybe coffee in hand, or maybe there's some with a beer in hand, I don't know. But at least with coffee in hand, you go to your desk and you sit down and you start working, answering emails, sending out stuff and that kind of thing. And I noticed I was doing that. And throughout the day, I looked at my day, it was so full of stuff for other people that I saw that I wasn't really taking enough time to do things for myself. Like I saw that maybe instead of just like sitting down at my desk, the first thing I got up, maybe I should go out and take a walk or do something like that just to kind of clear my head and get ready for the day. So I think that that's been really helpful for me, writing these things down, because I can see where I have areas that I can improve that would make me a happier, better person, as well as a better colleague with other people and a better realtor with my clients.
Awesome. How about you, Missy? What would you say has been the biggest impact for you so far? And I know it's just been a short time, but.
Yeah, so it's been a short time. I'm working, my coach is Coach Joe with the company, and we've had 3 phone calls, and I get homework every time, which is fun. I've had a lot of aha moments just in the 3 calls that I've had with Joe. He's very good at, when I say something, he like pulls it out and puts it into context that I need to hear. I'm getting more systems in place already, which was one of my goals for sure. So he's definitely been awesome at opening my eyes and making me think different ways. And I've had, like I said, quite a few aha moments in just 3 phone calls. So I'm excited to see what the year brings me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. So we know by this point that everyone falls into one of a different category. So because I know that we've got a diverse group of people on here, I'm going to ask you for one final text. And if you haven't texted me yet, I know there's a lot of people that haven't texted me yet, please text me this. So if you want to talk with me about how coaching could potentially work for you, text me the letter C. That's all you need to do. If you haven't texted me yet, send me your name so I know who I'm calling back. Text me the letter C. I want to talk to you about coaching, Carla. That doesn't mean you're saying yes today. It doesn't mean that you're saying no today. It's just, hey, I want to learn more about how this can benefit me, what my skills are. I see you, Debbie. So get it? I see you. Yes, and I heart you too. So text me a C if you want to talk about coaching. Text me a W if you are interested in us providing a complimentary workshop to your team. Typically, when we do these, we work more on the sales side. So if you've got a sales team and I know I did this with Missy and Elizabeth's team, and I've done it with Debbie's team in the past before, but text me a W if you're like, hey, Carla, what does a workshop look like for my company? How can we make that work? Just text me a W and I will follow up with you. And then if you have other people that you're like, man, Carla really needs to know this person over here, whether it's a realtor, whether it is a loan originator, whether it's a title person, text me an R and I'll follow up with you and see who it is. And if there's anybody that I can help y'all with, I would love to do that as well, to be able to pass some referrals to you guys. So a C, I want to talk with Carla about coaching. Disclaimer, just because you talk with me doesn't mean that I would be your coach. Like Missy said, her coach is Coach Joe. And Mike, are you working with Seema?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So
She's great.
You could have, what's that?
She's great.
She is awesome. I love Seema. Yeah. So you could have a me, or you could have other coaches, but a C is I want to talk to you about coaching. A W is I want to talk with you about what a workshop could look like for my team. And then an R is, hey, I have some referrals I want to send over to you. So I dropped the link to the podcast that I was talking about with Kelly and the confidence techniques that she implemented, that she learned from coaching. So I dropped that in there. So before we hang up, if everyone can click on that and open it, that will give you the opportunity to listen to that. And then you can follow the Action Catalyst podcast and get more information about some techniques. They're great 30 to 40 minute podcasts that you can listen to. So Missy, Mike, Debbie, all of you that I've met before, it was great to spend some time with y'all this morning. Feel free to reach out. You can call me. I put my number at the top of the chat, and most of you should have my number by now. If you have any questions or you want to engage in a conversation, give me a call. Those of you that texted me, I will be following up with you. I'll follow up quickly here. I have some time this afternoon, but I wish you all an amazing start to 2021. And if there's ever anything I can do to reach out and help, please don't hesitate to reach out and connect with me. I would welcome that opportunity. So,
I will interject here.
Yeah.
So after state had Carla, do a little workshop, I did text her. I wasn't sure about coaching. I thought maybe I needed it. It's very no pressure sales, just so everybody knows. Have a conversation with her if you're even an inkling thinking about it. Just like today, she gives you permission to say no or yes at the beginning. And even just my conversation with her kind of opened my eyes to just a few things that I was like, oh yeah. So even the conversation with her will help you, and then you can decide if it's for you or not. But I just wanted everybody to know, sometimes you're like, oh, if I get on the phone, then I'm going to feel pressure to do it. There's no pressure. It's a really great conversation, and just see if it's something for you.
Yeah, I echo what Missy just said. It is not high pressure. It's a lot of information, kind of continued information about what Carla just talked to us about in a little more detail, and about how that might work with you, if it will work with you, if it will help you. So it's very low pressure, lots of information, and you can make a decision on your own.
Absolutely.
Carla, thanks so much again for being with us today. That's great.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone. And reach out at any time. I'm excited to follow up with those of you that texted. And I'm grateful to have spent this time with you all this morning.
Thank you again, Carla. Just a little plug. Everybody, please renew your membership. WCR.org. It's renewal time. Make sure you're renewing so you can take advantage of all the awesome things that we have planned for you in 2021. Is it on there? There we go.
It is. Yeah, thanks Debbie Stoll for introducing us to Carla.
Yes, absolutely. She brought her in at state. Does anybody have any questions for Carla or us?
I just want to mention that our installation is on the 21st, correct?
Correct.
And it's at noon. So there'll be a link for that on our website as well. So you guys can hop on and watch the officers be installed. So more info to come on that.
Yes. And is Sharon still on here? Everybody should have an email about Sharon's installation is the 14th. Yay. So proud of her. So excited. Anything else? Anyone? Bueller? I think that's all I have. Leadership team, am I missing anything? Thank you, Melinda, for reminding me to talk about installation. Wow. Okay. I guess that's all we have today. Everybody have an awesome day, and see you guys on the 21st, if not before.